In today's video, I want to cover the many ways that you might be experiencing WordPress for better or worse. Oftentimes I'll get comments like, where are the widgets in this theme you're showing me? Or where do the blocks go in Elementor? And there are many different ways that one might be experiencing their WordPress website building woes or challenges or journey, however you want to, whatever spin you want to put on it. And I think largely it depends on maybe how and when you started your WordPress website. I don't have a great way of framing this other than just asking the question to get a general sense of the room. Did you start with WordPress, 15 years ago on what's now known as a classic theme, and you're finally upgrading to something like a block-based theme like 2024, and then wondering where the whole like widget and sidebar structures went? Did you have a professional in your life build you the site? You saw it one way many years ago, and now you're taking it over, and you're wondering why does this look so different? He or she maybe have been upgrading it and adding new themes for you, and now you're in control. There's definitely a shift in things. If you started 10, 15 years ago, things are dramatically different. And again, I think that's the biggest contention point in WordPress these days. So I want to highlight the different ways that I think people are going to experience it, and just share that with you. And then maybe that will help you understand when you see the various ways to do this. You might understand like, oh, there's something on that other side of the fence. I got crushed on that in the comments on one of my videos about showcasing 2024 alongside Cadence, and people were furious that I was showing Cadence and not 2024. The point is I wanted to show you what's available in core themes and with Cadence, and I'm going to do largely the same thing right here. So I don't want to hear it in the comments. I'm going to show you the many different ways one might be experiencing the ways of building WordPress so that you realize what's available. I'm going to start with the classic theme. What is the oldest way, with air quotes, that somebody might be still designing and building their WordPress website? I have 2016, the default theme back in 2015, 2016. And I'm going to show you how most people are experiencing this theme. And this goes with any classic theme that follows WordPress standards. It's like a big warning that I have to put out, because a theme and maybe a collection of plugins you have alongside that theme can also alter this experience for you. And there are thousands of them out there, tens of thousands, and they all could be altering it in different ways. I'm showing it to you from the core WordPress way, and then what bigger players in the room do, like GeneratePress and other page builders, for an example. Okay, so we click on widgets. And on the widgets side of things, this used to look vastly different many, many years ago. You used to have sidebars on the right-hand side and a bunch of widgets right here in the middle, and you would drag your particular widget, like the RSS widget, the recent post widget, the recent comment widgets. Now everything has been transferred into block-based format, but largely the concept of a sidebar, because in this website, we have a sidebar, and I hope that doesn't refresh because we're on the playground. We have the sidebar right here. And this is that traditional way of building a WordPress blog back then. You had your blog roll in the middle, and then you had your widgets in the sidebar. And largely that's how WordPress evolved. People started to say, oh, you know what? We could register, air quotes, we could register a sidebar at the bottom of the website. And that's what people started to do. They started to build themes with sidebars registered in different areas of their WordPress website, and they gave that to the end user as a super basic way of drag and drop website building. So we started registering sidebars through all different templates throughout our website, and we would bring in the widgets that we wanted to customize that look and feel of a website. So if we scroll down, there's our archives and categories. That's the archives and categories that you see here at the bottom of the content. Those were the early days of building the building blocks of WordPress. It's largely what led us probably to blocks, like the methodology of blocks and dragging things around. You might be living in this world and seeing new themes come out like 2024 and other page builders and going, whoa, that looks so foreign to me. And you're 100% right. It is very foreign because things are vastly different these days. There's another component to this. Although you are getting, side note, you are getting experience of building a blocks, because now the concept of widgets is gone, and you have all of your block options here on the right-hand side, just like if you're building with Gutenberg at large, so you still get that experience. The other component of a classic theme is the customizer. And this is also very foreign to people because this used to be that sort of page builder layer. It didn't quite get there, and I'm I'm somebody who tried to build a product in the customizer when the customizer came out, and I largely lost that. I'm a casualty of the customizer in one of my businesses that I started. But this was the way that you would go in and change the colors of your entire website. Page background color, you would come and change that right here. And this was, at the time, something that we were all, corralling around. We were like, yes, this is the way. Where the customizer is the way. Folks want to visually see things changing on the screen, like I just did with that background color. They also want to be able to click in and change this widget just by seeing the little edit icon and visually clicking into a space and saying, yes, I want to edit this little component. I want to be able to move it around in the sidebar. Right now we have blocks. You could move this up and down, and now you'll see it shift on the right-hand side. But the customizer experience and coming into this sort of this tray of options was how you would customize your WordPress website. And for some feature themes, like I'm going to show in a few minutes, it still largely exists. The customizer is still registered there, and you still go in and you make those bigger sweeping changes there, but then they have options elsewhere. This was the future many, many years ago. Widgets and sidebars and the customizer. Now, when you go into WordPress, the post editor or the page editor, if you're not operating on a WordPress website that is modified in some way, you have the block-based building tools even in a classic theme. So you can browse all, go to patterns. I don't know which patterns these are going to load, but these are just the default patterns that come from WordPress.org. You can click that in and drop in this particular pattern. You still get that block-based building experience on a post or a page. So those of you who are like pure publishers and bloggers, you've probably been operating with Gutenberg for a little while, and you can kind of understand that. But when it comes to manipulating the entirety of the site, you're largely living in the customizer and the widgets and sidebar section. Now, for those of you running on a classic theme, you might also have the classic editor plugin activated. So if you do have the classic editor plugin activated and you didn't set it up, when you see blocks and people moving blocks around a page like I just did, I inserted that pattern, you might be going, wait a minute, I don't have that. You might have classic editor activated, whether you did it many years ago or somebody did it for you, where now you have the old tiny, what is known as the tiny MCE editor. And this has far fewer options, no options at all for inserting blocks, because when this was around, again, a decade ago, all we had was short codes that we would place in to make things happen on a page. I'm not going to get into short codes, but it looks something like this. So I'll just type in short code equals whatever. And that's how we used to place functionality into our website. So if we wanted to embed a form, a product from WooCommerce, a call to action thing that somebody built for us, we would actually type in the shortcode. Now we have that luxury of bringing in a block and adding a pattern, synced pattern, or other functionality like that. Classic Editor will really strip that away, and a lot of folks voted with the Classic Editor to say, you know what, I don't want this Gutenberg thing. I just want that older, pure writing experience. And that's fine too. You just might be in that boat if you're looking at these other themes going, I don't have that. And I want to call that to your attention. Let's transition over. Like I said, I'm not going to cut out these little parts here because I want you to see these things and how they really evolve. So I'm going to activate GeneratePress. I like to call themes like GeneratePress and Cadence, Astra, feature themes, themes that have a lot of great features, a lot of page building like features. They kind of straddle the fence here, in particular GeneratePress. So GeneratePress is activated. I'll make sure I activate Generate Blocks, which is like their companion plugin. It's a little bit of Gutenberg and a little bit of the classic way of doing things. So if we go to Appearance and Customize, GeneratePress still uses the customizer to register these theme settings. So you would still come here, change your site identity, typography, colors, just like I was demonstrating before. You would make all of those changes in the customizer, visually seeing them represented right here. Again, just like a classic theme. The difference with a GeneratePress is, especially with their companion plugin Generate Blocks, you are continuing to leverage, whoops, I left the classic editor, shut that off. You get to leverage the power of Gutenberg with their block-based building technology. So if we go to patterns, I don't know if they have any patterns built into Generate Blocks for the free version. I know on the paid version you're getting a bunch of patterns. That's one of the reasons why. But if we pull up the blocks tray, there's a whole building system for Generate Blocks. Container, grid, query loop, headline, button, image. And the idea here is they're making their Gutenberg-based page builder with their technology and their options and their choices and their patterns, and they're being opinionated on how they approach it. So you might have a feature theme like a GeneratePress, like an Astra, like a Cadence, that has a real strong opinion on how you approach building pages inside of, or designing pages inside of WordPress. A little bit of customizer, a little bit of their own technology with Gutenberg. So I would say it's maybe the best of both worlds, but you also have to remember the biggest challenge here is WordPress core is chugging along and moving in a direction where it's listening and looking at these third-party tools, but it's not saying, oh, we're going to adapt WordPress core for you. We're going to build WordPress our way, and I'm going to activate 2024 as an example. So feature themes, best of both worlds, a little bit of old school way of doing things, a lot of bit of having their own way of designing stuff, like Generate Blocks. Let me just spend 2 more seconds on that. You can see on their landing page, this is free, you can play with it if you want. They talk about how you can build patterns and build your websites with Generate Blocks and GeneratePress, and there's a bunch of stuff you can get on the premium version. Let's go to Appearance and activate 2024. So in 2024, this is a block-based theme. I've done a bunch of videos. I have, 14 or 15 video playlists on 2024. This experience is much more, obviously, core WordPress. And there's no concept of widgets or sidebars or the customizer anymore. This is going into the site editor. And all the stuff that we saw in that customizer is now here in the style section. One of the biggest parts, one of the biggest areas of contention is the site editor. Is it ready? Is it ready for prime time? Is it easy to use? Can any brand new user just jump in and start using this? The jury's out. If you watch videos like mine and like from other WordPress creators in the space and other folks that are in the training team on WordPress, there's a lot of education out there. It is sporadic because the technology is moving pretty fast. But all of this stuff is much more in line to the Gutenberg experience. Doing things in the browser. There's a lot more flexibility on the technology side and on the option side than the customizer, but the customizer just had a 15-year start, or maybe even more, of like evolving it and understanding how people are building WordPress websites. We then jump from that to this, and that's why we're really in a tough spot right now. But you would come in here and you would change your typography, your colors, your settings. All of that stuff is done in the site editor. And when we go back to the site editor main dashboard, things are broken up into templates and patterns. And this is where things you really start to get immersed in. This is either amazing because I have all this design flexibility and I understand WordPress, or you start getting lost going, what is all of this? I just want to move stuff around my WordPress website. This is the particular challenge. I'm not going to train anyone on this video here, but again, just representing where the different experiences of WordPress lie. Some of the cool things here is like I changed the style of the pattern, or I changed the overall style of the theme, and all of the patterns have adjusted to that. I mean, these are minor things, but this is light years ahead of that classic theme. Like to make sweeping changes like that were nearly impossible in the customizer and widgets concept, but with the site editor, we can do it. And that's without third-party tools, that's core WordPress. Again, jury's out. I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments whether you appreciate that or not. But this is where the WordPress is going, and I know based on the comments that I'm getting on the channel that there's a lot of people still struggling with this. You're trying to jump into it, and you're like, man, Matt, I'm pulling my hair out. There's a lot of things that don't work. I'm right there with you. But as we progress and as we iterate and design more features and people ship more support and more content, more education, hopefully this stuff gets better. That's all I have to say about the future of that, for at least for this video. There is another experience that you also might be experiencing, if that makes sense. Let me just make sure I have it activated. You might have a page builder. Again, there's a whole range of page builders. This is Beaver Builder. There's Elementor. There's Divi. There's Bricks. There's just Oxygen. There's many different page builders. There's people who are building Gutenberg blocks and also calling it a page builder. I don't really agree with that. I think that if you're using a pure page builder like a Beaver Builder, Elementor, or Divi, like I just mentioned, you might be experiencing something totally different outside of the experience of WordPress. So if we go to add a new page, immediately I'll just close that. Most pure page builders will prompt you and say, hey, do you want to stay right here in the editing experience, or do you want to launch, in this case, Beaver Builder? I'll launch Beaver Builder. Hopefully there's no problem because, again, I'm in the playground, and sometimes the playground can be a little wonky, so I might have to already figure out a way to edit this, even though I don't want to do that. So let me just hit publish one more time, view the page, and we're just going to go right to Beaver Builder here and see if it works. Yes, please. So, or actually, no, I don't want a wizard. This is Beaver Builder. This is a whole different experience now. You're outside. You're sort of like 50,000 feet up from your WordPress website, looking down at it, going, okay, here's my tray of Beaver Builder widgets and blocks that I'm going to put into my page. And hopefully, please, WordPress, make sure you work when I drag this stuff over and bring it in. This is outside of the core WordPress experience. It can also be outside of your theme experience. The two are not always closely, related. If you had somebody build your website for you and they were using Beaver Builder, hopefully they used a theme that, like Beaver Themer, which comes with their pro version, but a theme that is compatible with Beaver Builder so things don't break. But the point that I'm trying to make here is this experience lives outside of WordPress core. And you might be going, oh my God, I'm looking at these block videos. I'm looking at the classic editor, and I'm reading and watching and trying to consume all this stuff, but it looks so different than my WordPress website. Maybe you're using a page builder, and maybe you have to just figure out which page builder you're using and focus in on the support docs and the team behind the page builder, because that could be a whole thing too. So if I were to pull in columns, grid, save, all of these elements, like this element right here, just this alone is really powerful. You hovering over a section, you're getting these nice little fluid drop downs. You can click on that, pull up your row settings. It's like a little window that you can drag around. You can snap it to the side, depending on where you're working. I like this experience. If I were a website builder still today and I was running an agency, I'd probably still be looking at Beaver Builder and saying, look, this is a kind of tool that I can get behind to build really powerful customized WordPress themes where I need to really drill down in areas and have an efficient workflow. I know there's a big debate. Of course, Bricks is very powerful, but I would say much more advanced than a Beaver Builder. But this experience is vastly different than being in the core site editor or being in the post page editor or being in the customizer with widgets and sidebars. Look to see where you're at in the context of your WordPress website to figure out where you need to go in order to either make a change or even pivot to something else. You might say, you know what? The theme and the page builder I'm on right now, I don't want it anymore. It's too convoluted. Maybe it's too costly. It doesn't have the features I'm looking for. And maybe a default 2024 theme is the way to go. Maybe a hybrid is the way to go. 2024 with a Beaver Builder and a page builder. Maybe it's GeneratePress or some other feature-based theme. I would hope that most of us are going to move away from the classic-based themes because, and I totally understand, like, I'm drawing the line in the sand. I don't want to move and I will, die on this hill. I totally get it. But this technology, WordPress, is moving forward without the old widgets, sidebars, and the classic editor. People will still continue to maintain the classic editor, I'm sure, long after Automatic sort of stops its support for the plugin. But I think that by the time you're ready to make that decision, I'm hoping Gutenberg, block editor, site editor is a lot better and a lot more polished for you to feel much more comfortable with it. So those are the many different experiences that one might have with WordPress. It's a longer video. I didn't want to edit out any of this stuff because I really wanted to show you what I was doing to activate these and really explain and see those changes as we move forward. Hopefully that helps somebody. Yeah, hopefully it helps somebody. This is what I'm up against when I make videos like this, showing you what WordPress is giving us and people going, I don't like that, and then downvoting it and saying, no, this was not helpful. I need to show you the 4 different ways or 5 different ways that you might be experiencing WordPress so you can understand and try to identify where you're at in your WordPress world. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, comment. Let me know below. Let me know what you want to see in the next video. We'll see you in the next video.